Good morning or good day to everyone. Um, Welcome to beautiful Kauai. You will hear some chickens and roosters in the background. I don't apologize for that, just wanted to let you know. What I wanted to talk about today was surrender. During this process of awakening, going from our pre-programmed self into allowing and emerging the true essence of who we are, um, the most important thing we need to learn, in my opinion, is really to unlearn. What we are doing is we are shedding the layers of all of this stuff that we have consumed and taken in as our own from our family, from our society, from our schooling, all of that stuff. And basically, we are unlearning that. And along that way, we've grown so much attachment to these things and this identity that we formed of this is who I am, this person that I've become. I mean, over the course of this life is who I am. And the fact of the matter is, we're so much more than just this life. When a baby comes out, um, instantly you can see that they have a personality. There's just certain aspects about them. Maybe we would say they're a little bit stubborn, or sometimes they're just super joyous and they seem to just make everybody laugh. And it's like, why does one baby do that and another baby doesn't? And the fact of the matter is, it's just we're all different, and it's not just from this life that we form that. We gain some of those things from from our upbringing and from our family. We may gain characteristics and traits from our parents, but right from that infancy age, there is this string, if you will, of personality that's already existing, that somehow exists either there before in time, or just exists there before within this child, within this being you, now as an adult, or certainly not an infant, probably, if you're watching this. um, and in order to get back to that string, which is our true identity, what really we are aligned with, and is essentially us, down to the core. To get down to that, what we need to do is shed these layers of programming, of beliefs, of attachments, expectations, etc. And the tool that I have found most beneficial in my experience is surrender. Absolute surrender. Just like I discussed in the last video, this infinitesimally small speck, when the sperm and the woman's egg meet, and it has everything it needs, to form life. Like everything it needs to grow into this human, all by itself. All it needs is nourishment, but it already knows everything, that it needs to do. Once again, that's us. And we already know everything we need to do. And everything we are. We don't need to be told, we don't need to be taught. We will catch reminders throughout our lives. There's a reason you're interested in certain things. And they just pull you naturally, and it's like you're attracted to that because that's part of your core essence. But what we need to do in order to align more with that core essence, and really emerge as the beings that we are, is to surrender all that does not serve us. And the way I like to do this, I call it the ceremony of surrender, if you will, is I will sit down. I like to write. I do a lot of writing, but I'll also speak it out loud, whatever way you want. If you want to, pray in your head, or do it in your meditation. But connect to your higher self, simply intention. I connect to my highest self, that core essence of who you are. I connect to my higher self, and I surrender all of this. And things I surrender, very first, my bodies, my physical body, my mental body, my emotional body, and my energetic/spiritual body. I surrender all four of those bodies. Everything that it is that I am carrying here in this body, in this being that is moving around through this earthly plane, I surrender all of that unto my higher self. That really covers everything that you are carrying now, but I like to go a bit more specific in certain areas, especially in the mental body, because we spend so much time identifying with our mental body that I just like to put a little bit extra emphasis on that. And things I surrender all attachments, all beliefs, all expectations, all resistance, all obstacles, everything. And this is still on a non-specific level. Like, I can do this for anything, and what I really suggest, if you're really up for it, is do it. What you really want to do is you want to surrender everything. And it's like, you can write I surrender everything, but you got to feel I'm willing to surrender everything. And what we're going to do is we are taking this, and what we're doing is we are surrendering like this. We are not surrendering like this, right? This is pushing away. This is, you could say releasing, but even releasing is more gentle. This is, a force. Please go away. We are not pushing anything away. We are surrendering. We are placing all of these things on the altar, if you will, and we are giving them to our higher selves. And the follow-up of this prayer is, I give these things, I surrender these things to my highest self. And to my highest self, please do whatever is in my highest good with them. Please release them, purge them, remove them, transmute them, all that no longer serves me. And please purify, cleanse, reorganize, restructure, and reintegrate all that does serve me for my highest good. So you get to give up everything. Basically what we're doing is we're saying, I'm not in control. Which we're not. And this is so much of our struggle in life, is that we think we're in control, and then the moment something changes that we thought we were in control of, it's panic time. Crisis mode. Your relationship falls apart, you lose your job, COVID happens, whatever. And all of a sudden you realize that you're not really in control, and you were never in control. So it's about surrendering to your higher self, and you give all of these things to your higher self, and let your higher self, your soul, if you will, go through, and it knows what is best for it. You are it. If you can shift your identity, you realize that you are your soul, and you can re-identify with that by removing all of these things that you've identified with. But if you try and do that willingly with your mental mind, what happens is you have so much attachment to these things that you're literally giving up your identity, or parts of your identity, and you feel like you're dying. Like you're hanging on for dear life, like when you lose your job, or you lose a relationship, or whatever is happening, or maybe a loved one gets sick, and it's just like the universe is pulling these things away from you, and you just have so much attachment and grip that you don't want to let it go. So just surrendering all these things to your higher self, and what you're doing is you're saying, I trust in you. I trust in that core essence of me, that everything is going to be okay, that you know what is best, and I give them all to you. And whatever is for your highest good, whatever does align fully with that core essence of who you are, will remain. And everything else will go. And I've done this on a practical level. So I mentioned some of the things that I've already, given up on a general level, but it's like on a practical level. And this is where I ask you, how deep do you want to go? You can say everything, but if you don't truly believe that you're willing to give up everything, then you're only really giving up. What that intention is. About, I'm willing to give up this, but maybe I'm not willing to give up this. Maybe you're not willing to give up drinking, or TV, or your house, or the city you live in, or your job. And I've gone through and I've given up many of these things and more. I've given up my name. I've given up my wife. I've given up my child. I've given up my house. I've given up having a house. And when I say I've given these things up, I've surrendered these things. And some of these things have disappeared in my life, and some of these things have remained. And what really happens is I just cease to be attached and feel controlled to it. And I'll give you one small example. I had this house that I live in, beautiful redwood home in Anahola, Kauai. Uh, Absolutely love this home. My favorite home that I've ever lived in. Um, it's very dear to me. And when I was going through a difficult time with my partner, there was a question of who would stay in this home. And I was in the shower and I was doing these surrender prayers or ceremonies, and I just got the feeling like you might have to leave the home. Like you got to surrender the home, because I had an attachment to this home. I was like, there's no way I'm leaving this home. And I got out of the shower and I came and I just did a very brief, quick ceremony specifically on the home, and I just wrote down full page, or took the whole page just to write, you know what I mean? I surrender this home in big letters. I surrender my home. And I laid down, and 5 minutes later, my eyes cracked open, and I just looked up, and I was in the exact same home, but it was totally different. I didn't move physically, but all of a sudden, this home was not mine. I do not own this home. I've never owned this home. Not only from an ownership standpoint that I rent, but it's not even my home. It's just a home that I am inhabiting right now. And basically, I am the caregiver for this home. And I am so blessed to share in living in this home. And this home certainly seems blessed to have me in it. So there's just an immense gratitude for it, but there's no attachment anymore. So now I'm just grateful for the time I have here. It doesn't matter how long it's going to be. When it's time to move on, I can move on. I've surrendered this home. It's no longer mine. And now we don't have this ownership agreement, right? This, hierarchy of me over it, or me over anybody else who may want to live here. It's just this mutual agreement, this relationship of being together. I mean, so I am here now, it is welcoming me in now, and when the time comes, off I go, and someone else will come and care for this home in a beautiful way. So that's just one small example that was very direct. It's like I woke up and I was in the same home physically, but I mean, it was no longer my home, and my relationship with it changed, and all of my anxiety of potentially losing this home or having to give it up or having to leave, it all just dissipated. So I highly recommend doing these ceremonies of surrender. Usually I do them, like I said, I'll write or I'll speak out loud, or you can pray in your head, just through your thoughts. Anything that comes out of your mind, into physical form or verbal form out into the world, I find it carries much more impact. Definitely if you're writing, I recommend after you surrender, you rip that page out, you throw it out. Throw it out, burn it. Burn it is an excellent way of, literally it's, you've surrendered that entire paper. It no longer exists. But you don't need to read that again. You're surrendering it. And you give it up. You give it up to your higher self, and what is there to serve your highest good, it will come back. Not only will it come back, it may never leave, right? Because you're not giving it away. You're just, here it is on the altar, and much will stay on the altar. Much that serves your highest good will stay on the altar, and a lot of other things will not. And by willingly giving that up, it can no longer be taken from you, right? It is a gift you have given, and it's like the old saying, if you love something, let it go, and if it returns, it was truly yours. So that's all for now. I'll make another video. If you're liking these, like, subscribe. I would love comments if you're interested. Comment on anything you would like me to talk about or share. I really love this personal interaction, and I will try to reply to whatever it is that you guys share, because I just find that's an excellent way to find a new topic, and there's no shortage of things that I could talk about and share. And I'm just here to help you in your awakening process. I love you all. Thank you so much. Nicolas, namaste.